Hello nation of Cowboys, the atmosphere remains hot behind the scenes at the Dallas Cowboys. Some free agents are being linked to the Cowboys, whether concretely or speculatively. We're going to bring everything to you now in full. So help us continue to develop news about the Cowboys by clicking the subscribe button. Now, I'd like to talk about some free agents that are being linked to the Cowboys, whether concretely or speculatively. One of the most notable free agents is Stephon Gilmore, who has yet to sign a contract. The market for Gilmore hasn't generated much interest, but he recently spoke with Stephon Gilmore about his situation. Gilmore stated, "I'm still focused on playing, but it needs to be the right opportunity. If I was 28, I would have signed by now. I know the value I still bring. I've played well the last 2 years and barely missed a shot last year. I'm being patient while I watch my son, who is a wide receiver and quarterback." I agree with Gilmore. If he was 28, he would already be signed. However, he is 33 years old, will turn 34 in September and is recovering from a shoulder injury. This would be his fourth team in as many years, after stints with the Bills, Patriots, Panthers and Colts, where he played well. While he's still a good cornerback, Gilmore doesn't want to sign for little money or be a backup. Ultimately, I believe there will be a team interested enough to sign him, especially considering some teams really need help at the cornerback position. As for the Cowboys, the team is in good shape with Diggs recovering from injury and solid performances from Panthers' Jordan Lewis, Kelvin Joseph and others. I'm particularly excited to see how new draft picks like Sean Wright and Eric Scott do. Considering the cornerback scenario, Lewis could be replaced by Gilmore depending on available salary cap space after June 1st. Additionally, Bleacher Report has suggested a few names, including Donovan Smith, as a possible addition to strengthen the Cowboys' offensive line. I agree that adding a veteran as insurance would be a smart move, especially at the left tackle position where Tyler Smith is slated to play. Donovan Smith, two-time Super Bowl winner, is a solid option, but he had a rough season last year with the Chiefs. Dallas already has a veteran option in Chuma Edoga, who hasn't had a stellar performance but is perhaps better than Donovan Smith currently. Veteran signee Chuma Edoga didn't have a stellar performance last year, with 420 snaps, 3 sacks allowed, 5 hits and 8 pressures. His rating as a run blocker wasn't great either. That's the critical thing about Donovan Smith. Despite his experience, he hasn't performed well recently. He was a left tackle on the Super Bowl champion team, but last year his performance dropped considerably, both in pass protection and run blocking. The Chiefs chose not to renew him, even though he was available at a low cost, preferring to bet on other players. Given this context, I prefer to see how Tyler Smith develops at left tackle. He will have ups and downs, as is expected for a player in his prime, but the Cowboys have a history of success with first-round picks on the offensive line. I believe Tyler can follow this tradition and become an important piece for the team. In short, the Cowboys have some important decisions to make. The Stephon Gilmore situation is a piece of the puzzle that needs to be resolved, as is the composition of the offensive line with veteran players or young, developing talent. With the season approaching, every move will be crucial to ensuring the Dallas Cowboys' success and keeping the team competitive on the NFL stage. We don't want to bring him back, even if he was very cheap. We're going after Juan Morris and King Mattia. Donovan Smith was terrible. I thought he was in decline. He fell apart last season and the Chiefs won despite him. It's amazing that I say this, but I prefer Chuma Edoga. Or I'd rather see if Matt Waletzko's shoulders hold up during the preseason or if Richards can perform well. Position, resisting the ups and downs necessary to develop. He will have his challenges, but the Cowboys generally do well with first-round picks on the offensive line. I'm not opposed to adding more help at wide receiver, especially if we get a veteran who can be the fourth or even third wide receiver. The problem is that the available receivers are not very good. Mecole Hardman has his moments, offering speed, something our team lacks but wasn't a significant factor last season with the Jets and Chiefs other than their Super Bowl win. He offers speed and perhaps some value in return. Hunter Renfrow is a household name and a reliable slot receiver. We need to consider whether the excellent 2021 campaign was an exception and whether the bad years of 2022 and 2023 were due to the terrible coaching team. Did he refuse? If we put CeeDee Lamb in the slot for 65% of the snaps and use Brandon Cooks and Cavonte Turpin as slot and gadget options, how many snaps would there actually be left for Renfrow? Maybe betting on Hardman makes more sense. Pick a wide receiver, MH for Mecole Hardman or HR for Hunter Renfrow. Leave your comments. In closing, I want to mention 2 Cowboys free agents who have yet to be signed. I think at least one of them will be signed at the start of the season. The first is Jaron Kearse, who had 72 tackles last year and 4 passes defensed. I know not everyone agrees, but I think he's been a problem a lot of times over the last year. Curse's breakout year came a few seasons ago. I think at best he's an SA5. I prefer Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Marquise Bell, Israel Mukuamu, and maybe even Josh Ball. The other is Sean McKeon. I think his role could be filled by someone like Brevin Spann, who would be cheaper and younger. I don't need another tight end. I'm excited about third-year Jake Ferguson, and we invested in a second-round pick in Luke Schoonmaker. Peyton Hendershot and John Stevens are in contention for a spot, and I wouldn't rule out McKeon for a smaller role on the Cowboys team. Let me know in the comments which free agent you would like the Cowboys to sign. Until next time, thank you.